This is Women on the Ball, your monthly podcast dedicated to everything Everton women. We've moved into the family lounge up at Finch Farm for this one because it has got to be the coldest, wettest, windiest Tuesday in the world up at Finch Farm. So we've come and taken some shelter. Joined again by the girls, we've got Maeva, Lucy and Simone with us, and we're going to have a gab about current form, what's to come Christmas, and we'll no doubt get a belter from Simone after the Milk Minute episode. If you've not heard or watched that one, get yourself over onto the podcast and onto YouTube to check that out. Girls, welcome back.
Thank you. Yeah.
I think we can say Merry Christmas. We're thereabouts, aren't we?
Definitely.
Definitely. We're feeling the Christmas spirit, aren't we?
Countdown is on.
I was going to say, are we counting down now to the break, or is the head still very much in the games?
I think it's still very much in the game. We have still got 2 games to go. But no, there's definitely a Christmas feel about the place. Christmas trees are up.
We've got our Secret Santas.
So we
have all that going on. So.
Yeah, we're feeling Christmasy.
Amazing. Maybe you've just been saying there as well, you've been introduced to some, not really Scouts, but British kind of Christmas traditions. Crackers, that's a new thing for you?
Yeah, it was new yesterday when we did that, but it was very special and very nice with the girls. So it was a good moment. We cracked
your Christmas hat on?
After
which lasts about 10 seconds before you rip it, trying to get it over your head.
They're made for people with massive heads. No?
They go like you, they fall down the nose when you're eating it.
Nice, amazing. Have you set a limit on your Secret Santa? Because like usually the lower it is, the more hilarious the gifts are. If you do like a $5, you've got to come up with something good, or like a mini bottle of gin or something. Usually that's about it.
Ours was £15. So it was pretty generous, but still.
I mean, I went over it on the postage and packaging. Still hasn't arrived.
She's at a shocker though.
Come on, let's have it.
No, I'm not going to say anything.
No.
I'm just not going to deliver.
You're going to make the letdown.
No, I'm going to have
Starts a chain reaction in Secret Santa if you're just like,
it's going to be an IOU. So because it's personalised as well, so you can't not send it back.
She'll get it in the new year.
Alright. The best laid plans.
Yeah.
Alright, well before we get to Christmas we've got to talk current form, most recent games of course. So give us your thoughts about the weekend. So cracker of a goal early on. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Tell us your thoughts post-match.
I think obviously we're all disappointed that we didn't get a result in the end. We don't think there was much between us and Man United, and just on the day they just took their chances, and I think it's a game we'll all look back on and we'll be a bit bitterly disappointed, but like we said, we've got 2 games this week, so going into them we've got to be focused and try and end on a positive run going into the Christmas break, so I think that's where we're at.
Lucy, yourself?
Yeah, kind of the same. Obviously, we went ahead so early and to concede again so quickly afterwards. It's something that's quite disappointing, and you're so vulnerable after you've just scored to then concede. It's just pretty annoying. But yeah, I mean, Man United, to be fair to them, they played well, and I guess we just need to be better. We need to manage the game a little bit better next time. But we're definitely looking forward to these next games coming up and get back on the winning streak.
Maybe how easy is it then to come back from a defeat to get your head back in the game, especially on such a quick turnaround as well, because it's Leicester tomorrow, right? So literally just a couple of days, straight back into training. You've got all the Christmas stuff going on. How easy is it rather to be able to get yourself, your head back in the right space to take on the next match?
How is easier? Or not easier? But for me tomorrow is different because I can't play. I'm banned for tomorrow. Too many yellow cards that I have to adapt myself to the English Championship. For me it's new, and I know you tackle a lot, so I do that, but I have to progress. So for tomorrow, now the team is focused directly after the game on the next game. So it's the same for me, even if tomorrow I don't play. But what is important is to work at training each time and think about the next game, and after we have a good moment, holiday and Christmas. So
I think it's quite good as well that you have another game so quickly after a defeat. I think that can also be a good bonus just to get back on the pitch again and put things right, or kind of work on some things that maybe never quite went right in the weekend. So I think it's good. Yeah, when you come off the back of the team, you want to get back on the pitch as soon as possible. So it's quite handy that we have this midweek game then to move back into the national games.
We've got to skip back a little bit, only because there was a little bit of banter as well with our Matt at the Blue Room from the Spurs game. when it pointed out that it totally looked like you knew this was in the bag, and it did genuinely. Matt pointed out that it looked like you were celebrating before you'd even scored. It was an absolute cracker.
Yeah. So yeah, to be fair, it's one of the goals I have watched back a few times.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've got that sweet like 9 out of 10 times that goes in like Rosette or over the stand. So yeah, no, I'm delighted. It was such a team goal as well. You know, the way we worked it. So yeah, it was great to obviously finish it off. But yeah, it was quite funny how, you know, everyone kind of approached it as if I'm doing like,
she's like the flag. We were going for a full-on swan dive at one point.
Well, the thing is, like just before it, like I've been like tripped up, so I'm like scrambling on my knees, and I'm thinking I just need to make the edge of the box here. So then yeah, I think I'm not even focusing on anything else. I'm just like screaming for the ball, and it looks like I'm celebrating. So
it's so funny. The goal is so beautiful after, so
yeah, it makes it a bit funny.
We can't help but think that kind of confidence. That's what we'll put it down as, whether you agree or not.
Yeah,
that kind of confidence has escalated you right the way up with your PFA Player of the Month nomination as well, which is incredible. How does that feel? How important is it, or those type of accolades?
Yeah, I think it's always nice to get the recognition. You know, like Chloe Kelly had been nominated before and won it, and then also Willie's been voted for Manager of the Month and stuff like that. So for Everton Football Club, it's great to get the recognition that we actually deserve. And it's very much a kind of team athlete. You know, if one person's standing out, it's probably because the whole team are playing well. So yeah, obviously it feels great to have some individual recognition, but it's definitely a team collaboration.
Is voting closed now?
Yeah, I think so. I think it closed on Friday there. I'm not sure.
Last week.
Sure,
Alright, we'll check it. If not, get your votes in. Send the girls round. Another thing as well that was mega frustrating as a fan, God knows what it was like for yourselves, is a game being called off.
Oh yeah, I know.
So all riled up, and I mean, you know, it's winter. It's wintry conditions. We kind of know, you know, roughly what's to come in the next few months and stuff. How frustrating is it when you get to the point where it's like
I think it was so frustrating because we were ready to go warm up.
Yeah.
Like it was so close. Like it wasn't like it got called before we even got there, or you know, I think they were leaving it as late as they could. So yeah, it was frustrating because you know we're all ready to go out.
It's pretty strange. That's the first game that I've ever been, like a senior game that's ever been called off for me.
Oh no way.
So when they came in, it was kind of like, oh, like what do we do now then? Like fully kitted out. I'm like, all right, I'll just take this off then. I was so lost like for the rest of the day. I was like, I still can't believe that
I had
happened.
so much energy as well because I had taken all the energy
Yeah,
gels.
this is it. You've got like 3 matches done, like you're so ready to go out, and then it's like pull the plug last minute.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I had some friends who came just for this game
no
at the week in England.
Yeah.
So they were just waiting the game, and I was like, okay, now it's done because of the cold. Yeah, so frustrating.
Yeah,
I think when you look at the bigger picture as well, this is a conversation that's had many times. We've spoken about it at length when we look at the likes of Anfield Stadium being used for like gigs and things. You know, through the summer, obviously through the off period, that type of thing. How frustrating is it to be just up the road at Southport and for it not to be a mainstream game happening at Goodison at the time, yet your fixture's still cancelled? In terms of, you know, like the bigger picture, you're ready to go. You know, or as a backup even, because it's not something that's been widely discussed right across the Premier League anyway in terms of how we're using the stadiums, you know, for other teams within the club. How frustrating is it when it's like we could have played?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose like I guess that's where there's like artificial pitches nowadays, so you can actually just play on them last minute. I think obviously it's a bit different because the health and safety wise, the security that's needed to man a big stadium. It's not just like put jumpers down and out we go. Yeah, so I think it's one of them occasions where you just need to deal with what's in front of you and on another day, or if it was a different kick-off, you know, the pitch might have been fine. So again, I think it's just one of them things, you know, it is very frustrating, you just need to crack on.
Winter in the UK, this is what happened.
Absolutely, yeah.
Winter is here.
It's frustrating. Yeah. If you could just give your friends and family at least a week's notice to let them know to not bother flying over, it'd be really helpful. Alright, so looking ahead, so Leicester tomorrow, Arsenal at the weekend.
Yeah.
Okay, how are we feeling?
Confident.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, we recognise that Arsenal are a top team who are on form, but I mean, you know, we've been on form as well, and it's one of them games you've got to go into, you've got to stand up against a team like that and see where you are. And I think everybody, you know, we all recognise that we want to end going into the Christmas break on a positive note, so obviously you know, it's a game that we'll really go for, and we'll see how we get on.
It's been quite a feature that at Southport we've been quite, you know, formidable. It's not an excuse for other teams to come, and you know, it's like a bit of a fortress for us that we're trying to create it. So yeah, I don't think people necessarily quite like coming to Southport, which is a good thing for us.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know, we need to go in and just feel as confident as possible. Yeah.
How much does that affect the team? That's something I'm really interested in terms of reputation. So we've just been talking a couple about the Arsenal players, and then obviously the flip side of that, like you said, being away. You know, and then it's going to a ground that you know has got a bit of a reputation being quite formidable, you know, in terms of how that affects your form. How much does the reputation of individual players within a team and away fixtures affect you as a team? So does it infiltrate it into like knocking your confidence, you know, or that you maybe feel like you need to you know, kind of concentrate or improve on certain areas of the game because of that fixture?
I guess when you're playing a league like this, you just need to see it as another test.
Yeah.
You know, I think you just need to remove any external factors and just you're testing yourself against the best, the top players pretty much in the world. You know, these are Dutch internationalists, you know, like English, Scottish internationals who are very, very, very good players. So I think you just need to take everything else away and just go and test yourself and see where you're at. If you play well, you play well. If, you know, you underperform, whatever. It's just, you know, you can't really go on the pitch thinking, you know, what if this happens, or I'm scared of overseas. But I get, you know, you just need to go match your individual and see who comes out on top. Yeah.
I think you've just got to play against the team that are put in front of you. You know, it's one of them. You know, on the day, anything can happen. You could be playing the best players in the world, or you could be playing, you know, a team 3 leagues below you. You've just got to play what's in front of you.
You're going to set yourself of where you want to go and what.
But I think it's a real challenge and real motivation to play against this kind of player.
Yeah.
Because you respect them, but after it's the game, so the respect is the same, and you just have to play and do your best.
Yeah.
There's one game that we've got to talk about, obviously, Chelsea at the weekend for the lads. It was just incredible.
Yeah,
how was, I mean, I don't even know where to start with it, to be honest.
Massive result
Really
from
don't.
them,
It's a good example that you can win in one game against, even if it's a really top team, you know. It's a real example.
When winning's the only option, like essentially they had no other option but to win. Otherwise, you know, they find themselves scrambling. So it's funny what your mentality can actually do when you have pretty much no other option. But to win, you seem to then come together and things like luck starts going your way.
It's just digging deep, isn't it?
Exactly.
Grafting it out.
Exactly. So yeah, no, we're absolutely chuffed with this one.
What's the feeling being like around Finch Farm then over the weekend? Obviously, the manager position, etc. at the moment. Big Dunk stepping up to the helm in terms of him being, you know, a figure associated with Everton for such a long time, but also from having a unique experience in terms of player manager. If anybody knows the club, the fan base, you know, the players, obviously the staff here, you know, it's got to be him. How's that affected, like Finch Farm? How's spirits been before and after?
Just think the change in just the mood. It's you know, it's like the sun shining again type thing, you know, and I just think it's really positive, and I think it's just exactly what the club needed. So it was definitely come at a good time as well.
When you see his kind of passion and excitement and how animated he is on the side of the pitch, you know, it's got to inspire you, you know, if you're watching it or if you're playing in the game. So I think that kind of energy is something that we definitely needed. As much as it was perhaps a kick up the backside that he gave them.
I'd love to know what the team talk was like.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
to be a fly on the wall on that one.
Absolutely. So I think it was definitely what we needed, and I think it has lifted the spirits within kind of the whole complex.
I think there were a couple of ball boys there who looked about 11 or 12 who will literally never forget that game until the end of time, as well as the fans and the players. Incredible. Talk Christmas. Like you said, so 2 matches left now before the end of the year, before the end of the decade. Just to pile a bit more pressure on, that's it. End of a decade, into a new era now.
I don't think of it that either.
Bit of a bombshell for you there.
2020 is
It's true.
So, like you've said, obviously, you know, very much game face. You know, still in right until until the final whistle after Arsenal there, and then it's 2 weeks off. Is that right?
10 days.
10 days.
No, it's not for Chino. 10 days.
Rounded it up for you.
Not that she's
Take
counted
that before.
But 2 weeks you can see with the coach. You can ask to improve.
Maybe what's Christmas like for you then? Will you be flying back over to France, or will you have family come over?
Yeah, no, I will first come back to Sevilla. I will go to Sevilla to see some friends and visit you and keep a little warm.
Yeah.
It's
don't blame you,
but
look
it's
out
not
the
too
windows
worse for the
here.
moment. No, it's not too worse for the moment. Not bad. And after I will come back family for Christmas. And time chill with family, friends there in France. Enjoy and be ready for the second part.
We just got to arm you with a whole load of crackers to take back to France apparently.
Yeah.
'Cause that's not a thing. We don't even know why we do it.
No,
In
we're good
France.
crack.
But they are. We can't call the podcast It's Good Crack.
No, I'm trying to
Do you have any like traditions or?
No, we have some traditions, but it's more like in the food. We eat some stuff, particularly, especially
Red
French.
wine.
Red wine.
What's
yes.
it? Red wine smoke.
Cheap Beaujolais.
Very good red wine in France for sure, but not a lot.
Yeah.
We have the camera.
Yeah. One or two over the 10 days.
So now, after we put the present like in England, I think at the
tree and
Lord,
stuff.
the tree. But we don't have. We have some stuff to eat with some cracker inside,
okay.
but it was just little. And
But you don't get like a
it's
plastic mustache or a
No.
Or the
hot
one
rocks.
jokes.
No.
They're the best bit.
We don't have
I
some
like
stuff
them.
on our. No.
That's because you look ridiculous wearing it. That's why you don't do it. 'Cause that's
No,
a
I've seen the
sensible thing
picture
to
in
do.
England that you
Yeah,
do that.
it
But
is ridiculous.
not my family. Perhaps some others' family and friends, but
Yeah.
not sure. I don't think so.
Amazing. What about yourself, Lucy? What's happening?
Yeah, just back up to Scotland to visit friends and family. Yeah, pretty straightforward.
Class.
Yeah, just having a good time. with
What do you
family.
get? What do you get a professional footballer for Christmas? Do you get loads of the same stuff? Do people think that you need that? Oh, have you ever asked
No,
for
I
trainees for Christmas? Trainers, sorry.
Ah,
Scouts.
No, I
Trainees.
tend to get like smelly stuff. And I'm
Preps.
like,
You look a bit
and I'm
upset by it.
I'm like, is somebody trying to tell me something? But to be fair, it goes to good use because I
Yeah.
shower like twice a day
Yeah,
usually,
yeah.
and every
True,
training
yeah,
and
fair
stuff. So I'm
enough.
like, fair enough. There's a thought behind it.
Yeah. Fair enough.
No, I don't know. My family was like, oh, well, what do you want? Or I'm just like, I don't even
Do you do like Christmas PJs and stuff like?
Yeah, I like
matching.
it.
I do
fresh
matching.
I don't think you ever grow out of that. That's another thing. So
Pajamas.
Pajamas, like special ones for Christmas Eve.
Ah, yeah.
You can wear them whenever you like after that all year round, but you can't wear them until
Till-
Christmas
yeah.
Eve. It's the
Ah,
law.
yeah. Okay.
More
Yeah, but
officially.
No,
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 we don't wear that.
Crackers,
Just-
PJs, you're gonna have to go home with
yesterday
extra luggage.
yesterday we were special things for
Jumpers.
Christmas
Yeah,
jumpers,
jumpers.
just it was with
Pajamas,
So
yeah.
yeah, I was like,
You got all scouts underneath, I'm telling you now. So you're like, yeah, we can just put a Christmas jumper over our PJs, we'll be fine. And then we see you go walking around Asda with it on, that's when you know you've gone too far.
Walking around the Asda.
The Asda.
Asda.
Obviously, that's
Yeah.
when you've gone too far. What about yourself?
So I fly over to Belfast just for the weekend before Christmas.
Oh, okay.
See everybody, see all my friends, family,
Yeah.
and that, and then Christmas Day over here.
I'm back over.
Yeah, so spend it
Amazing.
with my partner, his family, and the
Yeah.
dog, and all sorts. So
Amazing.
yeah.
So it'll come round quick. There are a few things that I wanted to.
Can you list
Thanks, it's going over.
Maybe just wait.
Christmas PJs,
Yeah.
crackers, we'll just see what other stuff we can throw out here before you go. Some of the things I wanted to ask you about when we'd looked at like social media and what the team has been up to, the wider team has been up to like over the last few weeks. And there was a partnership with Lillette's there as well, doing some stuff in schools. So in terms of like promoting healthy body image for girls, and obviously giving them like a bit of an insight as to what it's like to do your job and to kind of like educate them, I guess, to let them know that that is a possibility now. Now in the previous podcast, in episode 1, we'd spoken a little bit about role models and that type of thing, and that for you girls are setting a precedent, because when I'd said, when we looked at who you'd admired in terms of Premier League international players, the vast majority have been male. So we're already seeing like a real rise, in female footballers coming to the fore. How important is it, from your own personal point of view, to get out into the community and talk about what you do?
Yeah, I think it's it's crucial. For these kids, I think it's good for them to be able to actually see, meet, listen to what we're telling them, and know that it's a possibility for them. I think that if I was a kid and a professional female footballer and come in to tell me about what they do, that would have been everything. So I just think that it'd be so important and so inspiring for a young child to know that that's a possibility.
Yeah. Did you have anything like that when you were at school, Lucy, up in Scotland? Do you have anybody who come in, to kind of like as a role model, living and breathing, what it was that you wanted to do?
To be honest, off the top of my head, I can't think of anything like that. Different coaches used to come and used to have like taster sessions and stuff, but they weren't necessarily like role models. I guess they were just trying to encourage or not even advertise, but just show you like what options or what was available. To be honest, to have like a role model or somebody that you look up to come into your school or your community centre or something would be.
Yeah. What do you recommend? Do you go into a primary school? Probably actually it'd be high school now, won't it? High school.
Yeah.
You can get them at primary school age then,
Yeah,
it's much easier.
exactly,
They get to 14, they're happy to play that. What does it feel like to be able to go out into the community then and to go and speak to youngsters, girls in particular, who've got no interest in sport whatsoever? Because this is this thing with this 14 cut off, and then funny enough, we've had similar conversations for girls in STEM, in tech, engineering, that type of thing as well. It seems to be that mid-teenage where it's like cut off.
Drop off point.
Yeah, that's it, I'm not interested. Well, what must it feel like, and I know you girls are all still so young as well, to know that you've inspired other girls who've just thought, I didn't even think I could do that, I'll have a go with it.
Yeah.
So, inspiring another generation.
Yeah, we try to, when we go in the school, some girls, like you said, doesn't really like sports. We could see that because I went like 2 times with you, I think.
Yeah.
And it was, you have different type of girls, but some are really interesting, really motivated, and when they saw us, it's so a chance for us to can try to inspire the young girls. And so we try to improve that, and after for the other girls who don't really like the sport, we try to speak to them and just say, come on, try to practice that. And sometimes they try, and after they are not too bad, and probably they like that after. But it's really.
Sometimes there's I feel like we're trying to force everyone to like it. Like you should like sport, you should like to get hot and sweaty and red, and all the things that come along with being sporty. You're like, oh, that's disgusting. Like, it's okay. Yeah, you're allowed to say I don't like that, but I'm really like, you're probably very good at something else. It's just trying to say like,
Just giving them the platform,
to
isn't
say
it?
it is an option if you wanted to be there. If you come back 10 years later, or if you come back tomorrow, it doesn't really matter.
And I think what is important is not that all the girls have to love football or love sport, but is that they have what is the word? Think about something, They have to have a judgment, and they can say, no, I don't like, I don't want to do that. Yes, I like, and I will do that.
You've tried
I think
it, you like it.
I think it's that the most important for the charity or the stuff
I think
that are
it's
going
quite
to
like, when you were younger and your mum or tried to force you a food, you're like, I don't like it. How do you know you don't like it if you've not tried it? Like, that's all we're really trying to do is
Isn't it
say,
horrible when that works out? You're like, so she was right.
So, exactly, so really all we're trying to do is say, it's here if you want to try it. Like, we're not trying to force it down your throat. Like, not everybody likes football, you might like rugby, you might like tennis, netball, hockey, whatever. It's just like letting them have a taste of it to see, actually no, I don't like it, I'll try something else, that's fine.
I can't help but think, as a mum of a 14-year-old, I can't help but think that seeing you go into school, and you having that visibility, and obviously with the derby, all of a sudden, like, the platform's kind of gone up a level again, and you're so much more visible at the minute. And obviously we're hoping into the next decade that continues and and grows. I can't help but think that you girls being there is like a safety in numbers type of thing, and that you might be in an all-girls school and you might be mad into your sport, and that's probably what everyone in your class knows you for, that you pick your teams and stuff, But for you to come in and for somebody to identify and just go, that's me, these are my girls, this is where I want to be, and then all of a sudden you don't feel as if you're that one who's really good at sport or whatever it is. So, and I think it happens in different industries all the time, but I think obviously with the club pushing forwards, and if I said this on Saturday morning before the game as well, if there's something that Everton does amazingly, it's community. And strengthening those links for you going forward into the new year could only be a positive thing. I wanted to ask as well, since the derby, in terms of now that more families, because it was so accessible, the way that the tickets were priced and everything, to be able to see you girls on that stage, because it made it so much more accessible, how much of an impact do you think it's had in terms of people coming up, fans coming up to see you at Southport? So has it had a direct knock-on effect, or have you felt it in terms of people engaging in your social media and stuff as well?
Yeah, I think just the general buzz around the team, a lot of people are more interested. You know, obviously that comes when you're on a good run of form as well. You know, people want to be associated with a team that's winning, but obviously off the back end of that derby, I'd be confident in saying everybody's had a bit more, you know, people commenting and liking their stuff, and people are just generally interested around the team and stuff, which is really positive.
The player of the month votes or the manager of the month votes, you know, I think that's also kind of as linked as well. I think also when we do get to move to Walton Hall, you know, I think we can actually really push for crowds to come and support us.
Long may it continue.
Yeah.
So maybe what's it feel like when you know you've got family, although the game, probably got to ask this now, you know the game is called off, but in terms of people travelling, so do you feel more pressure?
No, I think when I have some friends or family who come for me, it's really a motivation more than pressure, because I always try to do all my best, but when they are here, I want to do against more and more. So it's more of the thing who motivated myself than I have pressure now.
Yeah, don't feel it like that.
So I really like when I have family or friends who come. If I could, I ask them to come each week.
No, it's I love that. Just going back very briefly to being there ready to go for the game, and then all of a sudden everything's off, and like you said, you know, you're literally ready to warm up, kit on, you know, in the zone and all the rest. What is and I think this is something that, whilst we've kind of got an idea, because obviously we see from the press in terms of like when you guys arrive, you know, and obviously you'll be in with Willie for a team talk and all the rest, and then what's a normal day at Finch Farm like? What's like a normal day training? Obviously you're out in the community doing things as well with those commitments and that. So what's like a bog standard day like at work for you three?
Do you want to say?
Yeah, I mean, well, we'll be coming.
Unless you're all doing different things.
On different days it can change. So obviously after the Sunday on the Monday, it depends if I've been home or away. Usually if we're away we come back in for a recovery session, which could be stretching on the bike, in the swimming pool, maybe do some uppers. The players who maybe haven't been involved go out and do a technical kind of session. So it changes obviously depending on that, your own circumstances. On a regular Tuesday, because we have a game tomorrow, so on a regular Tuesday it would be back in the morning, 9:30, upstairs for breakfast, which is good. We all get to sit down and eat together, and then usually we have kind of like a pre-act sort of 45-30 minute session, just to kind of warm up your muscles, kind of do some stretching, whatever you kind of need, and then we go out on the pitch for, was it 90 minutes?
About an hour and a half,
and just do whatever we're going to kind of be preparing for whoever we have at the weekend.
We have meeting as well. Pre-act. You said
the meeting would be in after breakfast.
Because
we don't even know.
And even we have many videos and we really focus on that.
And then once we come back off the pitch, we'll have lunch upstairs and then back at the gym in the afternoon for a session, and then head home around 3:30ish.
And sometimes podcast.
And then podcast. Just hold here again. So a run-of-the-mill routine day gives you time to have some time to yourself, like you said, you know, dogs, boyfriends, you know, other halves, family, etc. So do you think in terms of, just trying to think of how a 14-year-old might look at this, you know, being a professional footballer in terms of work-life balance? I mean, I know you live and breathe the club. So you know, once you're in, you know, you give it your all. You know, when you're in your strip or your colours, whichever way you look at it, it's, you know, you're ahead of the game. But in terms of balance of being able to book holidays, you know, and no doubt you'll miss birthday parties, you know, and this kind of thing. So how does that work? How do you balance that out then? I imagine that family are obviously absolutely chuffed a bit that you're living the dream, you're doing what you're talented at and want to do, but it must grate a little bit.
I think though, you know, we've all chosen and we've spent many years working hard to be in this position, and I think, you know, we're really fortunate to be in this position and we recognise that, and I think it's just we know when our time off is and we enjoy when we're off, but when we're in we're in and we're focused. And yeah, sometimes it can be difficult when you're missing out on things, but I think if you look at the bigger picture and what you get to do every day, I think, you know, you accept it and you go, okay, like I'm fortunate to be in this position. So
I think people, or like friends and family, they do appreciate how hard we've actually worked to get here as well. So usually you receive a message like, oh, I'm organising this, I know you've got football, but I thought I'd invite you just in case. Like, I probably know the answer already. But, and then if it's possible to try and move dates or, you know, do something, you know, to try and get there, I always try and make an effort, even if that's just like FaceTime or something. I am actually here, I can be in the room at the same time just to say hi, but I think we've just worked so hard to get to where we really want to be. It's just a sacrifice that comes along with being an athlete, and I think we're in very kind of unique circumstances, and we're in the middle of something that's, you know, expanding all the time. So to say, oh, actually I need a day off tomorrow because I've got a plan, it's just not acceptable. No, it's just zero tolerance to anything like that. So
this is it. No nail appointments, no lash appointments.
Oh, the girls still fit them in.
Don't
Don't worry about that.
That's when it comes down to being uber organised, just making sure you don't miss them.
Yeah, exactly. So
They've got that nailed.
Oh, can't believe I didn't see that coming.
does it not annoy you? She comes in with another one, I'm like,
You start getting the face now, it's like rolling her eyes at you. I'm like, oh, amazing. I knew you wouldn't let us down.
Yeah,
There was
no.
no pressure from the beginning, but I knew there'd be at least
Don't
one
worry,
line that we'd be able to
don't
pull
worry.
out. If we don't call it That's a Cracker, then it's got to be with nailed it. Incredible.
I feel like I set you up, not even realising. You know, I just walk right into it. It's like, there you go.
Get an assist for that. She's been running around the family lounge.
Yeah.
In the middle of the Girls, thank you so much. Appreciate you hanging around, obviously, to see us after a really busy period, and obviously preparation ready for tomorrow's game as well. We'll wish you Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Yes, thank
Hope
you.
you get loads of
Andy.
cliches and crackers
Yeah.
and spelling and all that stuff. And new trainings. And we'll see you in the new year as well. So enjoy the downtime over Christmas. So this
Thank
is
you.
Women on the Ball, episode 2. That's a cracker. And, see you in the new